Hey, what is going on? So, with the entire world currently in shambles, there's going to be many financial traps and financial situations that you are going to be presented upon. And you guys have maybe experienced some of these already, but you should absolutely look to avoid most, and if not all of these that I'm going to talk about today on this list. The purpose of my channel is to help and educate people on just investing, saving money, and increasing your financial intelligence. This is essentially to help you build a solid structure to put yourself in the best financial position or situation later on in life. You have maybe been exposed to some of these on this list because it's okay. Many people have been as well. And people are going to look to take advantage of you or other people, especially in situations when people are not in the best financial situation or in the best financial position, when the economy is, not doing the best with kind of like world epidemics or just recessions going on in general. And you should definitely be looking to avoid most of these on this list because honestly, some of these just require a little bit of common sense, which made me a little bit iffy about making this video. But in the past few weeks, I've seen so many people being taken advantage of and falling for some stuff that you would believe would just be common sense. And that just made me realize that it's actually really serious, because in desperate financial times, many people are going to be looking to take advantage and kind of just try to scam you or just take money from you, whether it's just flat out taking your money or just using you and telling you that like, hey, if you buy this $2,000 product from me, or if you invest or give me $2,000, I'm going to help you make so much more money. And I don't want to talk about anyone specific today or any specific institutions in general, but in economic states such as the one we are going through, or economic situations, there's going to be people that are going to target a specific group and prey on other people, generally, or knowing that those people are not going to be able to pay their bills, or they're going to use them to squeeze as much money that they can in people that really need money and can't afford to lose any of it right now. Which kind of brings me around to like the first money trap or money scam to avoid. And it's gonna be like all these get rich quick or quick money schemes that have been floating around. Many people fall for these every single day, sadly, in efforts of believing that they're gonna make hundreds or tens of thousands of dollars. That's not always the case. And one of the more recent ones that I have like actually seen, and I've seen a lot of people that I know doing this, is like that one circle game or blessing game that like a lot of people have been talking about. And that's utterly just kind of like, it's just a scam. I know a lot of people have been falling for this, and I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but tons of people were talking about this game. And it's basically a game where you essentially put in like $50 or $100 to be in like this circle, and your job is to just get more people to join, which is basically going to have them contribute $50 or $100, and that's going to help you move towards like the middle of the circle. And then once you're in the middle of the circle, you're going to get like a payout of everybody on the outside of the circle. And people were talking about how like they made $2,000 or like they made like $3,000, which completely shocked me to like realize how people were actually falling for this. At the end of the day, that's just another pyramid scheme that just pays people at the top and leaves the new people that join this game at the bottom kind of just like financially stuck in a position where they have to get even more people to join this game, or they're going to be left out with the initial money that they contributed in the first place. So it just kind of sucks for them because the people that you try to get to join this game are probably just gonna be like your friends or your family or just people that you know. So that's kind of like a not cool thing to do, because then you put them in a bad financial situation. And I kind of overheard the other day someone talking about that they didn't really care if they were in a scheme or if they screwed over like a friend or family member that they knew, that they were just that desperate for money. And that just kind of like blew my mind and made me realize how people could actually fall for this stuff. And you guys are probably thinking about the same thing that I was thinking in this video. Like, how can people actually fall for this? Or like, how can people actually believe that this stuff works? But it happens all the time, and especially now more than ever, people are going to need money to pay their bills and necessities, and it's just kind of like really pathetic to go out and do something like this, especially when people need money at kind of like the most desperate times. So that's what I was talking about. Like, there's gonna be people out there that are gonna like use you and prey on you just to squeeze as much money as they can out of you. And you know, it's not like, you know, you can say, oh, it's like their fault, or it's like their, you know, it's their fault for initially joining this game or joining this scheme in the first place. But when you have to provide food for others, or you have to put food on the table, or you have a family to support, you're going to do whatever you can in that situation to actually make more money. So if people that are in situations such as that one where they need money or they need others to support, yeah, you're kind of more likely to end up getting into these types of scams. And it kind of just really breaks my heart at the end of the day knowing stuff like this happens, because some asshole on the internet tells you that they're gonna help you, you know, double your money overnight or double your stimulus check overnight. And I always like to think of a situation in my mind, if it's too good to be true in the first place, then yeah, it's probably going to be too good to be true at the end of the day. So this kind of brings me to the second one here on this list that's kind of like a money trap or like a scam that a lot of people have been falling for. And it's, you have probably seen all these ads on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or whatever floating around, because I don't know if many of you guys know this, but YouTube lowered the rate they charge for ads being posted on videos all over, you know, the YouTube platform. That's why you've probably been seeing a bunch of like crappy or low quality videos on ads like before, in the middle, or after videos of like some guy standing in front of like a rented Mercedes or Lamborghini wearing, you know, like a Versace t-shirt and shoving their phone in your face saying that they just made $50,000 in 1 month through Forex trading or like Shopify drop shipping. And you know, it's going to talk about how in a couple months they did all this, and just like a month or two ago they were in tons of credit card debt or tons of student loans, and now that they've gotten to the point where they've changed their lives, that they can help you change your life as well, and they're gonna teach you how to make like $150,000 within like the next month. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there that actually have great information, and they have a pretty good course that can teach you or give you some good help and steer you in the right direction. But especially now, there's far too many like fake gurus out there that are going to take every single dollar from you just so you can buy the $1,000 course with your credit card or money that you borrow, which is essentially just going to put you into an even bigger debt hole, and you don't want to do that. This next money trap that you want to avoid is just kind of going to be letting the fear of market volatility, you know, going up and going down, have you or cause you to make impulsive decisions due to the current state of the economy. Like, there's a lot of people, even ones that I know, that bought a lot of stocks back in January and February when the Dow was almost at like 30,000 points. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of these stocks towards the end of February just kind of plummeted all the way down to 18,000 points. That's kind of like where the Dow was back in February, because a lot of people thought we were just gonna be in this endless bull run through January, February, and like throughout of all this year. And unfortunately, that was sadly not the case. And this really brought out true fear in a lot of investors, and even some of like the most calm and cool and like the best investors I saw. And it was just due to the fear of them losing even more money. They decided to sell their stocks at really low prices. And you don't want to do that, because you're already down so much money. like 40%, you know, if your account's down 40%, you know, you bought $100,000 worth of stocks, you lost $40,000, the last thing you want to do is sell at a really low price, because these are some of the lowest prices we've seen in years. And it doesn't make sense to do that when you're down a ton of money, because stocks have, you know, they've recovered a decent amount within the past couple weeks, or like the past month or two. And by the time I'm filming this video, the Dow's sitting at a little bit above 24,000 points. It just goes to show you that no one is really going to know exactly what the stock market is going to do next, or what's going to end up occurring. Like, even some of the best of us, many people that bought at the high points and sold at the low points because they were scared they were going to lose even more money. So they're seeing the market recover, and what they're gonna do now is, okay, you know, the market's starting to recover a little bit. So what they go ahead and do is like, okay, let me buy at a little bit of a higher point when the Dow is, you know, at 24,000 points, opposed to when they should have bought more at 18,000. So what ends up happening is you buy at another high point, and then the market just ends up crashing again. So now you're down even more money than you initially would have been if you just held your stocks in the first place. And I've seen this happen so many times, and it's just an endless cycle due to people using fear and not being too logical with yourself, opposed to making decisions with your emotions. Because, you know, you're gonna see many news headlines that are gonna be fear driven, opposed to, you know, saying good stuff or positive stuff. And, you know, the economy is not in the best state as well either. There's a lot of issues going on with it. But this is why you need to make sure you buy stocks with a long-term outlook and like a long-term investment mentality, because in 4 to 5 years, when this whole pandemic blows over and is way behind us, the economy is going to be at a way better point, and it's going to be way better than it's ever been, because that's historically how the US economy has been. It's just been getting greater and greater, and just been expanding, and been just producing more and producing a stronger economy over the long term. So when the Dow was below 20,000 points, I myself was buying stocks, even though it was a difficult time, because, you know, like, you're looking at your account and the week before you just lost $50,000. It's really hard to sit there and actually hit that buy button to buying like another $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 worth of stocks. I'm not saying that's exactly what you need to do, or that's always the right option, but during this situation, it worked out well, because luckily the Dow is sitting, you know, quite high right now, and I've seen some good profits due to buying at prices where a majority of people were selling. For this last one here that I want to talk about is, absolutely do not take on any unnecessary loans or debt as well, because there's going to be a lot of deals that are just being thrown out there for people to make you borrow money, and just, you know, borrow some cheap money or take on some cheap debt. And a lot of these like car companies are probably offering like a 0 APR for a few months if you buy a brand new car from them. And not too many people are honestly buying cars right now. But if you absolutely have to go and buy a new car, make sure you read the fine print for how long this 0 APR is going to be, whether it's for a couple months or for the whole term of the loan. This is really, really important to note. And I would also recommend, if you need to use credit cards to pay for expenses that you can't afford at the moment, by all means, you know, do what you have to do, but please do yourself a favor and do not fall into the trap of just making the minimum payment on that card, because that's just gonna put you into like a deeper and a deeper hole of debt. And if you're able to get your stimulus check, or you have a little bit of extra cash on hand, do yourself a favor and pay off some of those credit cards as fast as you can. Start by paying off the ones with the highest interest, and then work your way down from there. Pay as much as you can off on these cards, because credit card debt itself will eat you alive alone from a financial standpoint. You will keep digging yourself into a bigger and a bigger debt hole that you might not be able to get out of, because like I said earlier, at the end of the year, when you're tracking your expenses and you see that you owe like $12,000 on your American Express card with 30%, you're not going to feel too comfortable, or you might not feel too confident actually going through and paying that balance off. But like I said, avoid making the minimum payment absolutely if you can. Be careful with the fine print on a lot of these loans or credit cards. They make it tiny on purpose just so the company hopes that you don't notice or pay attention in the process. That's gonna do it for today's video. If you found any value in today's video whatsoever, please make sure you drop a like, subscribe to my channel, leave any questions or comments down below as well, and I will see you guys in another video. Thank you guys so much.